We all know that awkward feeling of the first day of school. The butterflies that crawl out your stomach and create a unique voice crack that embarrass you in front of the whole class. Or the dreaded first time you see people in the hallway questioning everything about yourself. Did I choose the right outfit today? Does my hair look good? Did I even bring my computer? For me, all this was a regular occurrence. I went to a new school every single time, and it just kept me awake every Sunday night before school thinking about these small, minute details. But honestly, that wasn't the biggest thing that bothered me. The one thing I truly dreaded was one question: where are you from? Being an international kid, I was born in the US, shortly after moving to Bogota, before finishing elementary school in Chile, starting middle school in Singapore, coming back to Chile. Oh, I'm out of breath already. But the first time I actually remember freezing when asked this question was on my first day in Cartagena. I woke up early that day, made sure that I had a nice shirt on, combed my hair to the right. Everything was about to be perfect. I had it all planned out. But this was one of the moves that made me the most nervous in reality. Most of the time, I'd gone from big international school to big international school, where people started their nationalities, and because no one knew any better, no one really cared. But by 8 a.m., we were all in the Zoom call, and everyone was introducing themselves, saying their passion and nationality. I was in the sweet spot, right around 12th, so I had enough time to think of my answer and make a cool first impression. As they started going, one by one, I heard my new classmates go, "Hola, soy Pablo y soy de Cartagena, me gusta el fútbol." "Hola, soy Antonella y de Barranquilla, me gusta bailar." All of a sudden, the butterflies in my stomach started feeling more like bees. What was I gonna say? I couldn't say Colombian. I was the least Colombian kid there. But I can't say Singapore. Only lived there 3 years. US, that doesn't make any sense. And as one by one people said their name and nationality, my mind started to freeze while time started to move faster. And after what only felt like two people, it was my turn. I slowly unmuted myself and quietly said, "Hi, Andres, Colombian football." And I quickly turned off my mic and camera, threw myself on bed, and put a pillow straight on my face. I couldn't believe it. I could see all the confused faces, all of them questioning my authenticity and laughing at me. What is this kid talking about? What is he doing? The thing that most bothered me was that, on paper, I feel like I was the coolest person there. I could have talked about all the places I've been to, all the experiences unique that would make me me, but I was stuck on this small detail, and that's the truth for most international students. There is a silent secret we keep hidden between one another. When you belong everywhere, it really feels like you don't belong anywhere. And for a long time, I thought that was the problem. I thought I was missing something simple: a flag, a place, a simple answer, because it's easier and people like short answers. They love boxes you can check. When you go to fill up papers, you always just check a box, but what if you don't fit into a single box, into a single short answer? For me, that question didn't just show up on the first day of school. It followed me everywhere. For example, when I was in Chile, I was Colombian. But when I was in Colombia, I was American. But then when I was in the US, in the shopping mall, I would speak perfect English and people would respond in Spanish to me. And over time, without realizing it, I did something dangerous. I started editing who I was. In some places, I leaned into being Colombian. In others, I said I was American. Sometimes, I just gave the shortest or most logical answer, even though for this question, there shouldn't be any logic. And the more I did that, the more I felt like I was losing a part of myself. I felt like I wasn't special. I was just lost in between all the borders and cultures, meaningless. Because when you grow up moving from place to place, you learn something very quickly. Belonging isn't guaranteed, it's earned. You start listening better, you start observing more closely. You pick up on what people value, what they speak, how they expect you to act. And then, without realizing it, you start shaping yourself around it. But here's the part I didn't understand back then. That feeling didn't come from moving countries or getting misidentified. That feeling in the Zoom call or in the shopping mall was about fear. It was fear about getting misidentified, fear of saying a wrong answer, feeling into not fitting into something simple. But a perfect example of this was a couple of years ago in this school in Chile. A kid from Bogota told me that one of his friends was moving to Santiago. And the moment I heard this, the bees came back into my stomach. I felt like I was this spy in this new school, and my identity was about to be revealed. But what if he saw me? What if he realized that I was Colombian? What if he saw me and then said I wasn't Colombian? That I was just a person lost in between cultures? So I just avoided talking to him. I ignored him, I ignored our shared past, and I just tried to keep my secret identity to myself. And looking back now, that sounded kind of crazy. The idea that someone could expose me as if I was pretending to be something I wasn't, but at the time it felt real. Because I had convinced myself that identity wasn't something fixed. It was something you either were or weren't. However, one day, it became impossible to avoid, and nervous, we started talking. I didn't know what to say. I didn't want him to catch me. So I talked about the one thing I could talk with all honesty, football. I told him about my favorite team, Atlético Nacional, and he made a snarky comment insulting the squad. At this moment, all my feelings, everything that I had been holding back, finally came through. I finally had someone to talk about my memories from Colombia from. The sound of vallenato, which isn't recognized here in Chile, and the feeling of watching a World Cup with my face paint yellow, blue, and red. I could talk about playing basketball with someone. I could talk about spending my summers in Chile. I could talk about everything. And I finally realized I wasn't pretending to be Colombian. I wasn't fake. I wasn't less Colombian or not enough American or just a bit Singaporean. I was all of it at the same time. The problem wasn't that I didn't have an identity. It was that I was trying to narrow down to one thing. I am everything I have lived. All the World Cup matches watched with my family. All the basketball matches played in the streets of Ecuador, in the streets of the US, in the streets of Colombia. All the trips done around the world. All the nights dancing to vallenato or singing to white girl music. So now when you ask me where I'm from, I'll still pause. There will still be an awkward silence. But it's not because I'm code switching or searching for an answer. I'm aware now that no single answer will be enough, because I finally understand that the question was never big enough for me in the first place. I'm not from one place. I'm not one label. I'm everything I've carried, everything I've become, and everything I will carry in the future. So next time someone asks you, where are you from? Answer it if you want, but don't shrink your story. Make it easier to explain, because the most honest answer might be the one that comes from your heart. Thank you.